Hey everybody, Brian Gardner again from Crew Inner City. Welcome to the second video in our short series on team recruitment. When it comes to children's ministry, you want to have the right people and we want to help you identify the right people, find the right people, and get them into your team as well as get them trained and retain them. So this series covers video one, which hopefully you've already watched, cover how to attract the right people, kind of like a bee to honey. This video is going to cover how to recruit the right people once you have attracted them. And then we're going to move from there into how to train and retain them. Let's dive into today's material on recruitment. Now, if you've already seen video one, hopefully you've already begun to develop a vision, a clear picture of what it is that you want to accomplish. And that's going to be what you attract people with. Now, some people might have the question, what's the difference, Brian, between attracting people and recruiting people? Isn't it the same thing? The difference is simple. When you recruit people, what you're doing is you're going after them. So you're saying, hey, I'm really excited about this work that I'm doing. And you're just casting a big old giant net and saying, hey, please come and work, please come and work with my team because I really need people to fill slots. That's okay. But that's not the same thing as attracting people where you're just putting on a perfume. You're putting on something that's going to be attractive, and people are going to smell that, and they're going to see that, they're going to maybe taste that, and they're going to be attracted to what you are doing. People are going to be asking you, "Is there any position on your team? Please." Now they're begging you, "How can I be a part of this thing that you are putting together? How can I come alongside the work that you are doing financially, or how can I be a part of your team and do the work with you?" So big difference. Now, so we've already attracted people by having an attractive vision. And again, check out video one to make sure you understand that it's very important. Now that you have that, we want to actually recruit people. So before we get into recruiting, one thing that should be fun, don't cheat now. If you're in your manual, you're on page 34. And yes, the answer is right on the other page on page 35. But take a second and take a look at those five characteristics down at the bottom of the page. Now, if you don't have your manual in front of you, I'll just read them. Those things are going to be character, consistency, competency, commitment, and calling. And I just want you, or if you're watching this with a team of people, I want you to rank those C's, the five C's I like to call them. Rank them how you want to put them, the importance of having these things in the people that you recruit. So go ahead and pause the video, take a second, rank those, circle them, put stars by them. It's your manual. Do whatever you want to do. And then when you're ready, hit play and we'll go on. Okay, great. Now, hopefully you've already ranked those. You didn't cheat and turn over to the next page. But as you flip over to the next page, you'll see that there are a lot of different ways to rank them. And really, to be honest, it doesn't matter what order you put them on, except competency is probably going to always not even fit on the list. It's at the bottom of the barrel. We're working with children. And so I can't stress how important it is that competency be the last thing you'll worry about. This is not rocket science we're teaching. If that was the case, competency. Have somebody, you don't want to teach rocket science and the person has never even understood or heard about what a rocket is. You don't want to recruit people to the operating table and they don't have a medical degree. But because we're teaching children, that's not to say you don't have to be competent. God is going to give you the things that you need in this area because whatever level of competency you have, often it's going to be higher than the children you teach. Let's just be honest about that. So instead, you want to look at those other things. You want to think about character. You want to think about their calling. You want to think about how it is that this person is going to be committed to your role. Are you going to commit to what we have going on? And not only that, can you be consistent? Children in this day and age crave consistency because they have so much just transientness in their lives. People who come and go, neighborhoods they're moving into and out of, changing schools, friends that come and go, friends that lose their lives. They need someone who can be consistent. They need someone who has the kind of character that they're going to be able to model because we're teaching about Jesus Christ. They need someone who's really called to this role and is going to be passionate about it, just like you are. And they need someone who's going to make sure that they can do the things it takes time and time again. They're going to commit. Now, competency is nice. So it would be nice if you were recruiting to, an organist, obviously. You want to have someone who's competent, someone who could actually play the organ. If you're recruiting to a space like, let's say someone who's doing snacks, that person doesn't have to have a lot of competency in how to pass out snacks. If you're recruiting someone who's teaching the lesson, yes, it'd be great to have someone who can teach a lesson. But those things often can be trained, which we're going to get into in the next video. So instead of focusing on how good is this person at doing this thing, you want to focus on how good is this person. A wise man that I know, Mr. Norman, who you'll meet if you see some of our other videos, he once told me, he said, the reason we are often hired for positions is because of our competency. And the reason that a lot of people are fired from positions is because of their character. You want to do that in reverse. Hire people for character. Hire people for their commitment, their calling. Hire people for their consistency. And then as you develop them, their competency will grow. And you'll be able to make them and mold them into what you need them to be for your particular program, whether it be Sunday school or children's church, after school ministry, whatever program it is you're putting together for children. Now, as you recruit people, you want to be the culture. So not only do you want to talk about these four areas, you want to constantly demonstrate them. You want to lead out front. If it's important to you that people show up on time, you want to always be early. If it's important to you that people are forgiving and loving, you want to be the first one to apologize. If it's important to you that the kids see adults who are engaging with them and willing to sit and listen, you need to be off your phone and unplugged from your device and plugged into these children. Show them the love that you want your entire team to show and them to be able to experience. It's important to create a consistent experience so that children and parents and volunteers are constantly seeing the same thing, and it's going to start with you. It's going to start not only having that clear vision and communicating it, but now it's going to start with you living the vision out, living the actions out, beginning to delineate. So for this vision to happen, what actions are going to be needed? What roles are going to be needed? What things do I need to recruit people to in order to make sure that we can live out this vision? Now let's get into some practical ways to recruit. So when you're in a church kind of environment, or maybe you are in a different environment where you're trying to develop an after school ministry outside of the church, either way, you want to make sure that you have practical steps that you follow. So they're listed on page 35 in your manual, but let's go over a couple of them. One way is to be able to cast a wide net. You can have an open house. Open houses are one of the best ways to recruit. What I would recommend is putting together a small team of trusted people. So if you're just beginning and it's just you, this is when you're going to call on those family and close friends. Maybe these are people who are not super passionate about your children's ministry idea. They're not interested in getting involved in the long run, but it's time to call in some favors. Hey, mom. Hey, sister. Hey, brother. Hey, dad. Whoever it is. Hey, best friend. I really need you to come and help me put on this open house. And when you put on the open house, you want to live out your vision in a way that people can see it. Let them be able to understand this is where. Can you see it right over here? This is where the children will do their homework in our after school program. Hey, right over here, this is where children will enjoy their snacks. As they're enjoying their snacks, there'll be some pictures here on the wall. In fact, maybe get the pictures on the wall where children can learn and see the Bible stories as they have a snack. This will be classroom 1 where the younger kids, and this is classroom 2 where the older kids. Whatever it is that you begin to envision for your program, let people be able to come in and immerse themselves in this process so that they can see this is what it will be like. Wow, not only does he have this amazing vision, he's already begun to think about exactly where it is. Begin to show people where they can fit into the vision. You see classroom 1 right here? we're ready to go. We've got the materials that we need, we've got a great space, but we really need a teacher who's passionate about teaching children the word of God. That's going to connect with certain people. Right over here, this is the area where we're going to do all of our music programs. All we're looking for now is someone who loves the Lord, also loves to worship Him in music and wants to teach kids how to do that. That's going to connect with someone. Now, that one definitely wouldn't connect with me. I've got two left feet, but that's going to connect with someone. And so that person can begin to see themselves now that they see your vision. They were attracted enough to come to the open house. But now, as you're beginning to share your space, or even if you have a fledgling program where you've got a few kids, they can see what it's like to be with the kids. And now you're beginning to recruit to specific positions. Now, as you have these positions, I would develop them. So even as you're before you have an open house or as you're doing an open house, have job descriptions that are written out. And if you've never written a job description, they've invented this really cool thing. It's called Google. You just type it in, hey, how to write a job description. And then they'll give you keys and tips and templates and all kind of things. But you might want to just keep it simple. Say, hey, I'm just going to have a few lines and that'll be a beginning and then I'll build from there. Whatever works best for you in your situation. Now, I want to pause and answer the question that someone might have. Is it really this serious, Brian? We just have a children's church with 6 kids and we just want to get a little bit better at it. Do we really need job descriptions and all these things? Absolutely. God is calling you to something greater. He has a vision for you, even if you don't have one for yourself and for your ministry and how to grow it. And He's going to develop something better. But He's only going to do that when you have prepared yourself to receive His blessings. That's very important for you to understand. Now, I don't think that's you though, because you're already watching this video. You're spending time with me. And so you must not be that person. But in case you are, or in case some naysayers ask you those questions, now you've got the answer. You also can set up tables at your church. And so, just having something in the back where you can catch people again, you want to have your vision pitch ready so that you're attracting the right people. And you want to have things like minimum requirements, hey, oh yeah, I'm really excited about volunteering with the kids, says Sister So and so. Hey, great. Well, we require that anyone who signs up commits to at least 6 months to a year. You have to do at least 2 Sundays of the month. You can pick either first and third or second and fourth. And you have to commit to these requirements. There's an application process for all of our volunteers. We run a background check, which includes fingerprinting, and you have to be willing to come to training, which includes X, Y, and Z. Now, the people who are just trying to pat themselves on the back and say, hey, I volunteer with the kids, that is going to scare them. And they're not going to follow up with you. You won't see them on the next Sunday or at the recruiting time, whatever it is. But those people who share your vision, who have calling, those people who are called to the ministry, they won't mind jumping through any hoops that you put. Again, pause and answer the question, Brian, is it really this serious? Does it take that much of a requirement? Absolutely. Because that's the requirement we put on our ministers of music. That's the requirements we put on our pastors. That's the requirements we put on our deacons and our trustees. And yet, when it comes to our children, we're willing to take just anybody, any live body, anybody, whosoever will, let them come. No, don't let them come. Because our children are the most valuable resource, most valuable pieces of the puzzle that we have in our churches, in our community. They really are our future. And so we need to recruit people who understand that seriousness of this precious cargo that they have and are going to be willing to do the work in order to get it going. Now, you can also create like a job description and kind of post it if you guys have like a message board or job board or a posting area somewhere at your church or on your church's website. And those are going to be good ways to recruit people. So I've listed some basic job descriptions there on page 35, but the world is your oyster. The sky's the limit. Whatever you want to put, whatever you want to develop is going to fit your program. That's what you want to recruit. Now, the last thing I want to go over in this short video is a few keys to making sure that you recruit strongly and correctly. They're at the bottom of page 35. They continue on page 36, but you want to make sure that you actually get background checks done. There's a lot of different places you can do it. There's an organization called Group. You can just go to group.com, and then there you'll be able to find background checks and things. Your church might already be doing background checks. So check with your board of trustees or whoever it is that governs your church body. You also want to have a planned orientation set up. So I would recommend developing a training, and we'll talk about that again in the next video. But outside of your training, maybe that training happens, quarterly, maybe it happens once a month, whatever. You want to be able to have a quick start orientation where people can learn the culture of your organization, a culture of your ministry quickly. So things that are important to you. Hey, we are on time. So kids start at 10, we're here at 9:30, no later than, because we want to have time to pray and jump into things and debrief before we really dive into the ministry when the kids start showing. Hey, we do not touch kids. It's okay to fist bump, but hugs are not really permitted in this space. Or maybe they are, depending on what your culture is. When basic rules, when someone goes to the bathroom, we want to make sure that there's always someone who takes a kid to the bathroom. And so here are the procedures on how that works. Some of those things can't wait until training time. So you want to make sure that you have this is how the check in process works. Whatever things are really crucial, build out an orientation. You also want to have participants, even in the smallest ministry, commit to a time period. I already said it, but it warrants saying it twice. 6 months, kind of at a minimum, is what I would say, but a year is even better. And that might sound outrageous, but we have to demand the things that we know are going to be best for the kids. And what's best for these children is someone who's going to be consistent and showing up in their lives, not people who are fly by night, coming for a month and getting tired and then leaving. Make people sign a commitment. Now, of course, you can't hold them to it. It's nothing you're going to have that makes them do it, but just showing the seriousness of it is going to make people be more serious about their decision to join your ministry at this time, to pause and do it later, or to not do it at all. And so make sure that you're having people commit to something so that children can have a consistent figure in their lives as they grow and develop. That's it for now, guys. That's all about recruiting. If you want to watch the video again, you'll get some more things out of it. But again, the key is to make sure you're developing clear job descriptions, recruiting people to those job descriptions using various methods, depending on what works well for you, and then having an orientation that's going to get them going as soon as possible. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to develop a full training, but we'll cover that in the next video. See you guys next time.